Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God has provided me that I just like to rant and rave about. So I always like to introduce them. Let me start with my faithful assistant, Faith, who basically has been my assistant since the day she was born. She would, when she was a little baby, I know you were like 3 or 4 weeks old when your dad started bringing you to church, and he was the sound guy. So she would sit with him at the sound table, or he would hold her while he was operating the soundboard. And as soon as she was able to crawl, man, she crawled right up on that stage like she belonged there. So we left her. And she used to help me do announcements. We'd sit her on the podium and she would help me do announcements, and it was really cute. And I think that's what made people pay more attention to the announcements. But anyway, she lived like 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver. And when he would go on out of town tows, he would bring Faith and Hannah over to our house. And I always put them to work. You know, I always have projects. Every time I turn around, I've got another project. And based on how Faith was with all my projects, when she said at 14 that she wanted a job, I went, hell yeah, let's get her into the ozone business. So I hired her as my assistant there. And when we went live on these church services, I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? And she said, yeah. And so here we are 3 years later, and she's not my assistant in the ozone business any longer. But she is my assistant here. So behind the scenes, she does everything. So when you say hi, good morning, hello, that's the way we like you to greet us. Since I don't know, when I'm in a facility, I can look out and see your beaming faces shining back at me. Here, I only get a number. I don't even get a name. So we ask that you do hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. And Faith is the one that says anything back to you. I always go back later and look. But in 3 years' time, I've only had to add something one time. So she knows me better than I know myself. So, and she is our soloist. So today she's going to be singing Healed, Whole, and Healthy by Karen Drucker. And that is the name of our topic today. So thank you, Faith, for being here. I love you. All right. And then we have my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz. He's available for what we call our 1-minute miracle at the end, but he's also going to be doing the invocation and benediction. So he is our practitioner of the day. Now, Oz, I've known since 1998. Doesn't that seem like a long time ago, Oz?
Yeah, 25 years, silver anniversary.
I know, right? What are you sending me for my silver anniversary?
I don't know. Silverware.
That's funny. Anyway, he was my first baby practitioner, and which meant that he took all of his classes with me, except for one, which he took at Mile High. And then he became my board president for many, many years. And then he moved off to Florida, and we lost the ability to have him be practitioner of the day, which is what he's doing today. But since we went live on this during the pandemic, we offered him, we invited him to serve, and he was all for it. So here he is. So he is going to, like I said, he's going to do the invocation, the benediction, and he will be available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. And I'll talk about that in a little while. But thank you for being here, Oz. We love you. Oh, goodness. And for all of you who are here, thank you so much for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're blessed to have you with us. Also, for those of you who have just joined in, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces. Here I have a number. I don't even get a name. So please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. We would really appreciate that. There is a watch party button that you can click on and invite all your friends so they can see what kind of Sunday services we provide. And it allows you to talk amongst yourselves. So if they have questions, you can answer them, and it's more private. And so it's easier to answer those questions. You're not bothering anybody. And so I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
The presence of God everywhere for all time. For God, as we conceive of it, is all things, all that is, infinite, eternal, and running through all of creation, creating it as we go. We know that God is capable of producing perfection in each and every moment. If we align ourselves with that, we know that perfection is ours to claim. And there is no place that God is not, which means that God must be right here with me, with you, wherever and wherever you are, where God is right there. I give thanks for being part of this service and for being the blessing that it can fold forward into the future from right here, right now. I give thanks that this is so, and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. I got a little distracted by something here. Sorry. This next video, this next song is a song written by Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, who, when she was in her practitioner training, wrote this song as a reminder of how connected we all are. And it's a great way to remember that. So learn the words if you don't know them. If you do know them, sing them loud and sing them proud, because you can't bother anybody.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. Again, say hi, hello, good morning, however you like to greet us. If you like something that either I say or Oz prays or Faith sings, use that thumbs up button to let us know you like it. If you love it, send us some hearts. We love to get love. And if something strikes you as very, very powerful, by all means, use that wow button. We love the feedback because it lets me know when I'm on track and when I'm actually hitting a point that helps people. So please use those buttons. All right. Right now, I am going to bring on Faith to sing Healed, Whole, and Healthy by Karen Drucker.
Thank you. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I relax and visualize. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I relax and visualize. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I accept and I receive. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well. I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. Angels are watching over me. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well. I am well. Healed, whole, healed, whole, healed, whole, well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I got love surrounding me. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well. I am well, whole, and healthy. I've got love surrounding me. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well. I am well. All is well. All is well. I am well. Oh, all is well. I am well. I am well. All is well. All is well. I am well. I am well.
Thank you, Faith. That was beautiful. I just love that song. It's a good one to have around. Like this morning, I listened to it and I started thinking about, healed, whole, and healthy, all the different pieces of this. I already had my sermon prepared, but I just started thinking about all of it. For instance, healed. Healed is an interesting word that is sometimes very misunderstood. Healed can mean that we get over whatever it is that we're dealing with, or it can mean that it's time for the body to go on. I learned that lesson first through someone else and then on my own. So Reverend Dr. Kathleen Vogt, who is a friend of mine, my mentor minister, was sitting in a hospital room praying for her friend Valerie, who was dying of cancer. But she was praying for her to live. And Valerie at one point stopped her and said, "Hey, listen, I need to go. So stop praying for me to live. You know, you can pray for me to be healed, but don't pray for me to live." And Valerie did make her transition. And so Dr. Kathleen used to teach us, you know, you don't want to do prayer for somebody to live because you don't know what their circumstances are and what is important to their body and their life and their, you know, their communication with God. And so then one time a neighbor of ours was driving a scooter and was hit by an SUV at the light. And another neighbor of ours came over and she, you know, this neighbor was in the hospital on life support. And he came over and he's like, can you pray for her to live? And I said, no, I can't do that, but I will pray for her for the perfect healing. And he said, you sound just like my wife. His wife is very involved in the Catholic Church. And she basically had told him the same thing. So he thought he'd come to me and see if I would have a different answer. And I didn't have a different answer. And she did make her transition, as well as did my friend Paula, who I didn't understand at the time. You know, she had cancer and I went out to Oklahoma and we were sitting on a raft in the river. And I said, you know, I will pray for you to live if you want, or I will pray for you to die if that's what you want. And she said, I have no intention of going anywhere. So I proceeded to pray for her to live. And when it came time for my panel, she died 2 weeks before my ministerial panels. And I took it very personally because I'd been praying for her to live, because I thought I heard that she wanted to live. And Reverend Bonnie Allen Rice says to me, she was another one of my mentors, says to me, nowhere in there did I hear the words, I want to live. Did you hear those words, exact words? And I said, no. And she said, she didn't say she wanted to live. She just said she had no intention of going anywhere. And I finally got it, that it's like, you know, we don't know what is in somebody's mind. We don't know whether or not their contract with God, so to speak, is to leave the planet or not. So for us to pray for someone to live, it goes against what is in the highest and best for that person. So I always pray for healing. And like I said, it doesn't always end up in a transition. It can end up that they do survive and their body is healed of whatever condition they're experiencing. It can happen that way. But rather than praying for them to live, I pray for them to be healed, whatever that looks like. And I give up my attachment to whether or not they survive in the physical form. Okay. I want to make that clear, because healed is it's got a lot of charge on it for a lot of people. And we do believe in healing. We absolutely believe in healing. What we're not is faith healers. We don't believe that, you know, if you just have enough faith, you'll be healed. We believe that there are circumstances that create dis-ease. We call it that instead of illness or whatever. Dis-ease just means that we are not in our perfect state of ease. In other words, God's perfect state of ease. It means there's something that has interrupted the flow of that ease. That's what dis-ease is. And so when we're praying for a healing, what we're really saying is, we're not focusing on the dis-ease. We are focusing on what it takes for the body, mind, and spirit to heal, if that makes any sense. And so, like in my case, you know, I have Hashimoto's. It's a dis-ease. And what has caused that dis-ease, what has interrupted the flow of ease in my life, is this virus, okay? That the Epstein-Barr virus is what triggers the Hashimoto's. Okay. I accept all of that. What I don't accept is that it has any power over me. I don't accept that anything in this world has any power over my spiritual being. And so when I'm focused on that, instead of focusing on the dis-ease, I am healed, whole, and healthy, if that makes any sense. So while I accept, you know, we have a label on what it is, and everybody gets a label of whatever particular dis-ease there is. Sometimes that means we haven't been living our life right. Sometimes that means that it's just a matter of course. Hashimoto's is genetic, and it is passed down from, your parents, your mom or your dad or whatever. And so it's nothing that I've done wrong. Not like, so people get diagnoses of like cancer, for example, and they start wondering what they've done wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. That's not a wrongness. What happens is there are particular circumstances that create dis-ease in our life. And when we are dealing with dis-ease, then we tend to focus on that. We tend to focus on the label we've been given. And I firmly believe that if I focus my attention instead on the spiritual beingness of me, instead of on the physical condition I am experiencing, that I can affect a change in not only my body, but in my mind and spirit as well. And so, we're made of God. That's the premise that we live from, is that we are all made of God, and God flows equally through all of us. And it is that spiritual beingness that we live from that really is the important part of us. And the physical being is a way for God to experience a physical reality, because without our bodies, there would be no experience for God to have, right? So when I think about my body as an expression, an individualized expression of God's life, then the body itself doesn't become my primary focus. So what becomes my primary focus is that God is flowing through me, that I'm made of God, that God is all I am. That kind of thing becomes my primary focus. And it alleviates anything that is in the way of that expression coming through fully, right? And so that's what I think of as healed. Wholeness is an interesting thing too. Sometimes I think we don't understand wholeness either. It's really accepting yourself wherever you are, right? Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are you. And you're the best you that you can be. There's all these differences that make us individualized. We can look, if we want to say I'm special, that would mean I'm special and you're not. That's just not the way it works. God flows through all of us equally. So there is no special. I used to have a friend that said, I'm special. And she really meant it. And, but I since have realized that no one person can be special, because if that's the case, then the other people aren't special. And if we believe that we are all made of God and that we have been created equally and that God flows through us equally, then you can't have someone who's special. I like to think of it as unique instead. For instance, we look at a snowflake. We don't say that snowflake is more beautiful than the other snowflake. We don't say that snowflake is more special than the other snowflakes. We say each snowflake is unique in its individuality. So when you look at all the snowflakes, they're all beautiful. They're all unique, but they're unique each on their own. And that's the way we are. I mean, there's so many differences. For instance, food is a perfect example. I like to use food as an example because everybody has a different palate. I have, friends that live next door to me who will recommend a restaurant. We're ranting and raving about it. They'll go and they'll go, oh, it wasn't terrible. And they'll be ranting and raving about a restaurant. We'll go there and we're like, oh, it's okay. And Dr. Kathleen was the same way. She and I could not agree on a restaurant except for a Brewski's. There was a little Italian restaurant named a Brewski's down in her neighborhood. And they made the most delicious artichoke fritters. And we both loved the artichoke fritters. So whenever possible, I would try to gear our experience towards that restaurant, because she had this Mexican restaurant she just adored because Dr. Fred loved it. And oh my God, the food is god awful. And so every time she'd say, let's go there, I'd go, how about we go to Brewski's? And that was a place we could go to, but she and I didn't agree on restaurants at all. Every restaurant I ever recommended to her, she said, the food was okay. And every restaurant she recommended, I didn't like the food, except for a Brewski's. That was like 100% on that one. And only because of those artichoke fritters. I didn't really like the rest of the food, but it didn't matter because I could get that. But, even my sister and I had very different food preferences. There was about 4 or 5 foods that we would, like, oh my God, have to have some of that. That was the same. And other than that, everything was different. My sister and I were very different people. She was a sports fanatic. I don't do sports. She drove a big truck and she'd had a fencing company. She liked to go to bars, and I'm just not. She didn't like fashion. I'm a real fashionista. So what was special about our relationship was understanding that we were different, but we loved each other because of those differences and because of the similarities. But we loved each other. And I look at the world and I celebrate the similarities that we all have, but I also celebrate those differences, because what a boring world it would be if we were all the same, right? Our family is really gifted. I can't even begin to explain. We have artists, major, like we have someone who paints, we have photographers, we have people who do pottery. My niece who does the mala bead necklaces, my nieces, I should say, because they're both doing it. And I have a cousin who is a fashion designer, and I wear her clothes. They're that good. But we have all these wonderful artistic people in our family. Now, celebrating your own gifts is perfect, because I have a lot of gifts. I don't have some gifts, but I have a lot of gifts. I don't paint. I don't design clothing. I don't do pottery. Any of those things. It's just not my bailiwick. You give me a computer, I can do anything with a computer. Give me a microphone, I can speak on just about any topic you give me. Put me in the kitchen. I have some things that I know how to make, and we celebrate when I can make those. But for the rest of the time, I don't cook, because I know that's not one of my gifts. I'm not good at it, and I don't want to poison anybody. My peach pie is an exception for those of you who are getting peach pies. But it's good to understand what your gifts are and what your gifts aren't. Not because you can't develop those gifts if you want to. I just don't have any desire to be in the kitchen, so I don't do that. But I also have tried my hand at painting. I don't do, I like doing things that I do well. I don't like to start doing things that I don't do well and try to perfect them. That's just not my bailiwick at all. But celebrating how the gifts that we have and our looks, in America, we think something's beautiful, and in Asia, people don't think that's beautiful. Well, in Korea, they do. They're redesigning their faces to look like Americans. But for most of Asia, their idea of beauty is so much different than ours. And all these various countries, have a concept of beauty. So when we celebrate ourselves as whole, what we're doing is we're saying, this is what I look like, and this is how I make a difference in the world by giving my gifts to the world, that kind of thing. And we celebrate our wholeness that way. It means that I accept myself as a whole human doing, a whole spiritual being, that everything about me is perfect, right? I'm not talking about physical perfection. I'm not talking about, I do everything perfect. What I'm talking about is that spiritual perfection that lives within us. And that's what I focus my attention on. Because the rest of it is just an experience that we're giving God on a physical realm, in the physical realm. So, my looks are my looks. And there's a reason that everybody is created differently. There's people with a lot of fat on their bodies. There's people with a lot of muscle. There's people who are skinny. And whatever body type you are, whatever beauty type you are, is perfect. It's designed to be unique, just like the snowflake is unique. So we celebrate that wholeness by understanding that we are whole beings, and every part of us is already perfect. There's a quote from Marianne Williamson in her book, Return to Love, that gets attributed to Nelson Mandela in his inaugural speech, but they've actually proved that he didn't say it. But it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And we're liberated, as we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And I think that's a real pertinent quote, because we are most afraid of our beauty and our elegance and our powerfulness and our light. Because if we were to say, I am that, then the subjective mind would throw up roadblocks. Oh no, you don't deserve to be pretty. Just look at that. Look at your eyes, they droop. Or look at that fat that's on your thighs. Or, that's what the subjective mind does. And the whole idea is that we counteract that with an affirmation of our own beauty, our own powerfulness, our own light, because that's truly who we are. I can't imagine looking at God and saying, you don't deserve to be prosperous. You don't deserve to be loved. You don't deserve to be healthy. Can you imagine somebody saying that to God? I don't think so. So it goes back to the premise of God is what we're made of. The only difference between me and this table is the rate at which the molecules bump up against each other. It's really fast. That makes a table. It's slower. It makes a human. It's really slow. It makes air, or it makes water, you see. But everything is made of the same stuff. Quantum physics says so. And we call that God stuff. And so if I'm made of God, then me telling myself that I don't deserve prosperity is like telling God that God doesn't deserve prosperity, right? Can you imagine doing that? I can't imagine it. When we allow others to treat us less than perfect, then we are saying to ourselves that we don't deserve to be loved in the right way. And so we need to be very careful of our self-talk. If I decide that I don't deserve to be healthy, then everything in my life points at, you don't deserve to be healthy. That's the feedback loop, right? All right, so I'm going to go through the self-esteem thing real quick. There was a practitioner at Mile High. I didn't know that I had bad self-esteem. Let's put it that way. And I ran into this practitioner at Mile High named Gigi Owens. And I only talked to her for a few minutes. I mean, it wasn't even like a lengthy conversation, but it must have been very obvious that I had low self-esteem, because she said, I want to put you in Dr. Marjorie's self-esteem class. And I said, well, I don't have the money for that. And she said, no, I'm paying for it. I'm putting you through it. And it was probably the best gift anyone has ever given me, because I really understood for the first time why the issues that were all around me or in my life were happening. Because no matter what it is, it all boils down to self-esteem, right? Doesn't matter whether it's prosperity or relationships or health. It all boils down to self-esteem, what we feel like we deserve. And so Dr. Marjorie Stamm taught this self-esteem class, which I now teach in my ministry, because it was such a powerful experience for me. And Lillian, I can't think of his name. Anyway, Lillian Barksdale, in his self-esteem class, what he talks about is this feedback loop of self-esteem, where I have a certain idea about what I deserve or don't deserve or whatever. And life feeds back to me exactly what I said to myself, right? Sounds a little bit like what we teach here, right? That if I focus my attention on something, I get a feedback that says, yes, that's true. Here's life experiences that are going to feed back to you exactly what you believe. And the only way to break that loop is to change our thinking, change our beliefs to something else, meaning we change our thinking to I believe or I deserve to have all of this. Now, that goes back to, if God is all I am, then how could God not deserve all of this wonderful stuff, right? And if God is all I am, then that means that I deserve all of this good stuff too, right? So we talk ourselves back to that, and it allows us then to have a greater experience of our life. So, I skipped through here a little bit. Oprah Winfrey had a great quote. I finally realized that being grateful to my body was key to giving more love to myself. So one of the things that's really important in self-esteem is to learn to love yourself. That's that wholeness that I talked about. Learning to love your body, even if it has a little bit more weight on it than you want. Instead of focusing on how fat you are, like most of us do, you focus on how beautiful your body is, and you allow your body, the physical body, to conform to the idea that you have of it. So if I have an idea that my body is perfect and beautiful, then it's going to conform to that. No, it doesn't mean that you don't have to diet. No, it doesn't mean that you don't have to work out. But what happens is, instead of us doing through willpower what, dieting and exercise, instead we're working on the inside out. And so we are telling the body that we want this result, and the body is naturally going to be attracted to a certain way of eating and a certain way of exercising and all of that. And when you do it that way, there's no resistance to it. Have you ever gone to the gym for the first time and felt like, oh God, I don't want to do this. I just don't want to do this. That's that resistance factor. But when you change from the inside out, when you show up at the gym, your body's like, yes, we're going to do this. And it's a whole different aspect of it all. Now, Nathaniel Branden, who, I skipped over something. Hang on a second. Nathaniel Branden, who is the guru of self-esteem in the psychological community. He's what they call the self-esteem expert. Says the only opinion that matters is the opinion we have of ourselves. But we have gotten that opinion from somewhere, right? It isn't one that we developed on our own. It may have been just an offhand comment that somebody made to us, and it didn't mean anything to them, and then we internalized it. For instance, my mom used to say, you have champagne taste on a beer budget. Now, where did I get that from, Mom? I was raised by you. I got my champagne taste from you. But because she said that to me, and it was just an offhand comment, because she said that to me, I've had a beer budget most of my life and not been able to enjoy the things that I really appreciated, the champagne taste. Nowadays, there's this commercial for Wayfair. I don't know how many of you have seen it. And the comment instead of beer budget is, we have champagne taste on a hard seltzer budget or something like that. And I thought, of course, things are changing. There's no more beer budget. Now there's hard seltzer budget or whatever. But that's what happens, is that somebody says something to us and we take it and internalize it and make it our own. And then we start to see the world the exact same way that everyone else has told us, or someone has told us it will be, because we're in that self-esteem feedback loop, right? So being healed, whole, and healthy is pretty easy to understand, especially in terms of the body. We think of healthy as free of disease and free of, anything that's keeping us from doing what we want to do. Freedom. Healthy is freedom. But this week, in order to create a healed, whole, and healthy life, what I'd like you to do is look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful. Tell yourself you are happy and healthy and whole and beautiful and perfect just as you are. Now, the subjective mind's going to pop up and, say all this stuff, and you just have to argue back with it. We call that the argumentative style of treatment. Because you just argue back and you say, no, I'm made of God and God is perfect. Therefore, I am perfect. Therefore, this body is perfect. Therefore, you see, will you do that with me this week? Will you actively stand in front of that mirror and keep telling yourself how beautiful you are and how unique you are and how perfect you are? Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. Right now, I turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. And that is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of us. So I know the same truth to be so for this team that God has provided me, this magical, wonderful, perfect team that God has provided for me, for Lynn, for Faith, for Tina, for Karen, for Elaine, for Oz. I know that we are all one in that infinite power, that infinite presence of God. And I know that what leads us and guides us is that same ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through us all equally. For we are all one. I know that same truth to be so for everyone who is listening, whether that be now, in the present moment, or later on. For we are connected by it, through it. And there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. We are simply one. Mitakuyasin. All my brethren, we are related. We are simply just one. So I bless this week with that knowledge and awareness of how perfect we were created to be. That awareness of God as perfect, and we are made of God, and therefore we must be spiritually perfect as well. And because of that, the body outpictures that which we have been focusing on, which is that spiritual perfection. I'm blessed this week with that awareness, that knowledge, that experience of the perfection of God. As I know for every name that is in the ministry of prayer right now, that same idea of perfection underlying whatever condition they are experiencing. For the power of God has more power than any condition could ever have. So I pull back that veil here and now. I reveal the truth and I claim it in their name as good and very good. And so I give thanks that this is so, to be of service in this way. And I just let it be. And so it is. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice, spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry. You might think I was trying to do too many things at once, wouldn't you? All right, this is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express gratitude for that which you have experienced in the physical realm, or perhaps that which you have created in the mind of God and have not yet experienced in the physical realm. I'm going to ask you in a minute to go to www.oasiscsl.org, and about 2/3 down the page, say the offering affirmation with me. And then underneath that is the contribute now button. And I want to talk about contribution real quick. Something I didn't share that I meant to share is, so our mission, our vision is a healed world. And our mission is healing the world one person at a time. If we're in a facility, you're paying for rent and you're paying for utilities and all those other expenses that come along with having a facility. We don't have that here, but what we do have is marketing expense, because we want to be global. We want to heal the entire world, not just a segment of it. And so we have to market. We already have the UK and the Netherlands, or Holland, if you want to, for those who don't know what the Netherlands is. The UK is England and Germany, a lot of English-speaking countries. But we want to stretch our wings out and try to touch as many countries as we can. And that does cost money. So what you're contributing to is our vision, and you're contributing to it by funding our mission to get there. All right. So please, if you're here right now, or if you're visiting later, please go with me to www.oasiscsl.org, and about 2/3 down the page, say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Hit that contribute now button and help us get to our vision through our mission. All right. Let me see what I got here. I got stuff to talk about. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who serve our ministry of prayer. Practitioners are the healing arm of the church, and they serve our ministry of prayer, which we happen to call the God Squad, because I think that's what they do. They gather together and they do the work of God, right? So we call them the God Squad, and they perform 3 different functions. One is that they pray every day on requests for a week that come in. And so if you would like prayer for something, please put it in the comment section. If you don't want it to be public, just DM Faith and she'll make sure that the God Squad gets that prayer request. But they do pray on those every day for a week. So take advantage of that service they provide. Our practitioners are also available for spiritual guidance for a fee by appointment. And so you get a hold of them through Facebook and look them up on the website if you don't know who our practitioners are. And then you can contact them through Facebook and ask them, how to pay for your session. I don't get involved in that. They each have their own separate business. So it could be PayPal, it could be Venmo, it could be Zelle, it could be Cash App, it could be Wise. Whatever one they do. And then once you paid for it, they will contact you at your appointed time by video chat. That's another way that our licensed practitioners serve. But the third way is by being practitioner of the day, which is what Oz is doing most days, most Sundays. And that means he does the invocation in the beginning and the benediction at the end, but he also is available for what we call our 1-minute miracle. And it's not a time for counseling or spiritual guidance. It is a time where you can share with him whatever situation you are experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. So reach out to him by video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, it probably means he's on with somebody else. So try him back a little bit later. All right. Now, as I said, we have mala beads. Brooks and Bailey has these mala beads. The necklace has 108 beads on it. And the bracelets have 54. They have other jewelry as well, but we focus on this because this helps you with your affirmations. The Buddhists and Hindus use this for their chants. They take a bead and move it for each time they do their chants, and they do 108 of them. We suggest that you do 100 affirmations, so you can use these mala beads that way and make sure you get your 100 in, either by the necklace, which has 108, or the bracelets, which have 54 each, so you would use it twice. This one is amethyst. It's $60, but they have all kinds of stones from $30 and up. So check them out. All the proceeds benefit Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is a very worthy cause. And you can reach out to them by brooksandbailey0307@gmail or on their Facebook page. Whenever they do a table at some event and they share that, I try to share it on mine as well, so you can go visit them because they have a lot of fun stuff. Okay, Faith.
And please check out the Mystic Brew. It's a metaphysical shop that has intention jars as well as bath salts to help work on whatever you were currently focusing on. The website no longer works. However, you still can order through Instagram and Facebook at the Mystic Brew 303. And Facebook has the prices as well. Just DM us and we can get those to you. And then also follow us for updates on any upcoming events. Like we are having some sporadic Zumba classes, as well as a couple different deals. So definitely give us a follow so that you don't miss out.
Okay. And as an adjunct to that, we have Angel Renee has an Etsy store where she has intention candles and intention tea bags that you put into your bath water. She uses aromatic herbs that help you focus on your intentions. So check out her store as well. Then also Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, her website, she isn't able to update it, so she can't take payment over the website. But you can go on there and that song that we play, We Are All One. If you wanted to get the CD that is on, you would look on the website, see which CD you wanted, and then contact her by email. And she travels around the country singing and always carries her CDs in her trunk. So she'll tell you how to pay for it, and then she'll ship it out. She's really good at shipping it out really fast. And then Karen Drucker's website does work, and you can buy it by the song, by the CD, by the songbook, karaoke files. Some of the songbooks, some of the songs in the songbook have American Sign Language. So if you wanted to learn how to sign that particular, I love that this is God. I just love that. I don't know why it sings to me the way it does, but it does. We used to have a signer at the Denver church when I was there, and when I moved, when I created this church, I missed having her on stage because every time I'd say God, she'd go. It's like, oh God. But anyway, so go to these two ladies' websites. We'd like to support those who support us, and we couldn't have music in our service without them. Because every time we try to do contemporary music, either Facebook mutes us or YouTube mutes us, one or the other. Sometimes both. So without them, we couldn't have music. So definitely check them out and support them. They are wonderful ladies anyway. We love them. Buddy, stop. God. All right, let's see what's the time. Oh, we have time for our closing song. Here we go.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I know that the perfection of God is with us right here, right now, in any given moment. I know that God expresses wonderfully and perfectly through each one of us in our own unique ways. I give thanks that this is so, and I allow that perfection to unroll through the week. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. And thank you all for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We were blessed to have you with us as well. I forgot an announcement. Check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. There you're going to find 3 years worth of video sermons from the last 3 years and audio sermons from years prior. We are also on YouTube and SoundCloud under S. Tucker. Where YouTube has the video files and SoundCloud has the audio files. So thank you for being here. Come back next week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time and every week, but specifically come back next week. We love you. Have a great week. Stay safe. Love you.